Hi everyone, welcome back to Love and Life Sorted. I'm Dr. Sandy Toe, and today I want to talk about a really special topic that is matchmaking from the past. Yeah, that is revisiting your past contacts to see if there is anyone there for you. Yeah, so why am I so inspired by this is because my friend Vincent recently got married, and I heard that it is to his old university mate's colleague. Yeah, so it's really serendipitous that he got reconnected to his old college mate, and he asked him, "So are you single?" And he said, "Yeah, I just broke up," and so his mate said, "Oh, I have someone who might be suitable for you," and she's my really brilliant colleague. Yeah, she's single too, and she's also looking to find someone. And yeah, so that was how they got introduced and hit it off and got married within a year. Yeah, so that is really great. Yeah, and Vincent's story is not the only story that I've heard these days. Besides him, I've heard so many these days of reconnecting with someone from your past uh, and hitting it off, and people getting married because of this. So another case was I heard from my friend that her single girlfriend who I know who's just gorgeous girl, a gorgeous girl. Like, she is also in her early 40s and also looking to find someone, and she had reconnected with her old schoolmate as well, from high school. Yeah, and it wasn't someone she's dated, but it was like a friend from the past that maybe, she never got around to knowing back then, and somehow overlooked maybe, or it was the wrong time maybe. But then, like, they reconnected, and he doesn't even live in the same place as her. So I guess they chatted and they hit it off and they met up, and it all worked out. And the next thing we know, she's getting married to him. Yeah, and he's moving all the way to Hong Kong to be with her. So, like, I was really happy hearing that. So that's like so great to hear. And another case was another friend of ours who got married also to someone from her past. And it was also a past high school friend whom she had reconnected with. And he also doesn't live here. He also doesn't live in Hong Kong. Somehow, like, they reconnected, and then they hit it off, and then they got married, and he also moved over to be with her. So, like, so many beautiful encounters happened with people from your past. Like, people previously you may have maybe overlooked in your life, or you were not ready, or you weren't at that level of maturity to appreciate each other, or it was just, like, the wrong timing. Maybe you were dating different people at that time. Or you were not ready for a relationship. So all of these, like, overlooked opportunities coming back now, during your 30s and 40s, is, it can blossom into something completely different, and like, these missed opportunities can be something real now. Yeah, and, like, lest we forget, Karen Mock, the famous singer, she also reconnected with her uh, uh, old classmate from Europe. I forgot if it's like high school or university, but yeah, she reconnected with someone from an old schoolmate from the past as well, and then they got married too. Yeah, and also one of my best friends, she also met her husband through her old work contacts. Like, she used to work with him on a project before in her previous job, and then they hadn't had a chance to, like, know each other back then because it was like work related, and they didn't have a chance to hang out or anything. But I guess, like, she left a really good impression on him. That's what I heard. Yeah, and she was like really professional and very efficient and just like so good at her job, and that left a lasting impression on the guy. And like, yeah, he remembered her from a work project. Yeah, it's like utterly unromantic, right? But I guess like it left a really fond, positive impression. And then so like years later, they somehow reconnected through like an occasion, probably a professional occasion or something. They reconnected, and like the guy was like completely smitten, and then he chased her across the continent, and then like he got her. Yeah. So like just when like the time when they were both like single and ready, they met up again, and yeah, through the past positive impression, like he was like just really ready to launch his courtship immediately because of like the shared history, the shared background, the fond memories or whatever. Like these things are like making it really easy to reconnect, compared to someone you have to completely know on your own without previous connection. So yeah, sometimes these old contacts from the past, no matter if it's like work related or it's from school, but from your past, sometimes they may come back into your life in the most unexpected ways, and it may like things may happen differently. Yeah, previously you may have completely not thought of this person as a romantic contact. Maybe you just thought of them as a platonic friend or someone who's just, work, but somehow, because of your like experience, your life experience you've accumulated, and your age, and everything you've been through, you will have a very different perspective viewing these people, don't you think? Yeah, so my friend Vincent's case, it actually reminds me a bit of my case, like me meeting my husband also from the past. Yeah, he's also someone from my past. A lot of you know, probably from my story, that I met him through my friend's brother, right? So my friend is actually a colleague I met through work, and her brother is my husband's high school schoolmate. Yeah, so you can see like the interconnectedness of this all, right? So yeah, so somehow I met someone. It's the opposite of Vincent's case. He met someone through his college buddies' work, right? So his college buddies colleague, and I met someone through my old colleague's brother's high school schoolmate. so yeah, isn't that like really spectacular, like, come to think of it? And like why I said my husband is also like I would say he's from the past. Okay, so first of all, he's from my old colleague, right? But he's also like someone who I had met once before when I was 14 in a tutorial class that I had in high school. We went to different schools. I went to a girls' school, he went to a boys' school, but we had actually sat down at that same tutor's classroom in a long table, right? So like I had no recollection whatsoever of him being sitting there, but somehow he remembered my name, and then he told his friend my name, because like back then there were no smartphones, you couldn't snap a photo of someone, right? So like he told his friend my name, and his friend remembered, after 20 years, and that's how we reconnected. And like the interesting thing is, like the most miraculous thing is, his friends and him aren't even in very frequent contact nowadays because of, like, I guess, life or work or various things. Like, yeah, but of course, like, they were good friends back then. But somehow his friend, called him up and then just said, "Hey, remember that girl you mentioned before 20 years ago in your tutorial class? She's my sister's friend. So do you want to meet up?" So it all started from that phone call, and then we all met up as a group, and then we hit it off, and then we went off on our own, and we had our dates and stuff, and then it all worked out. Yeah, so this really reminds us that sometimes, during your 30s, 40s, it's the time to take stock of past experiences and revisit them, because sometimes we go through life in our present, and we see that things may not be working out, or we're not meeting people that we're interested in at this phase in life, or sometimes you just have no time to get to know someone really well at this stage, because we're probably a bit set in our ways, and we have sort of like a social life that we are already compelled to follow, or we're basically just you can't be bothered to go out and like spend another 10 years, 20 years getting to know like a new group of people. I guess like we just don't have the time and energy for that anymore once you've reached a certain stage in life. And this is the time, I think, to go revisit some people that you've already connected with, have a shared history with for the past 20 years already. That makes sense, like, completely. And I think it's just so much easier to reconnect with someone from your past, because you have so many shared memories. Like, school is perfect, right? Like, you can always talk about your old schoolmates, your old teachers, and where they are now and how they were back then. Or it's so easy to just pick up where you left off, I think. Even if they weren't meant to be like romantic contacts, maybe you could just like pick up on like an old friendship that you probably left behind somewhere along the way, because life goes on and everyone just moves on with their life, or moved places or something. And it's just really quite easy nowadays with the social media and stuff. You can just easily like chat someone up. Hey, how are you doing? And hey, remember me from from that grade? And like chances are you guys have some shared memories and shared friends, mutual friends that you can talk about or reminisce about, and then pick it up from there. And it may not necessarily need to be seen as a romantic contact initially. Maybe it's like it can actually even be someone from the same sex. Like, say, for instance, like Vincent, he just picked up with his college schoolmate, and he had someone to introduce to him, incidentally. Like, he had like a girl colleague that he thought was suitable for him. And I think he instantly thought it was suitable because he knew Vincent like throughout his whole entire college days. And I think sometimes you sort of pick up on that vibe that this person, whether or not they're suitable for each other, like that feel, that vibe. And he just instantly thought about matchmaking him with his girl colleague whom he thinks is fabulous, obviously. And so they hit it off, and they're married now. They just got married last year, the end of last year. And I recently got to meet his new wife, and I just thought, wow, okay, it's so great. Like, you finally found someone that is the perfect match with you, because like you're such a great guy, so awesome and so nice, and you found a girl who's equally very nice and very considerate. So I was really happy for him that he eventually got to meet someone through introduction by someone from his past, like a past college buddy. Sometimes these things, like, if you can't meet someone on your own, which he's tried for the longest time. Like, he's one of like the very proactive people. He's not just sitting there, he's really actively finding a girlfriend, a wife. And it just didn't happen for him on his own. And so he relied on an external force, and, bam, blast from the past. And that worked out. As well as, all of these other girls that I recently heard of that reconnected with someone from their past, like an old schoolmate or an old college mate or someone from work before, and yeah, they all got married too. Yeah, and two of these girls, like their husbands moved all the way here to be with them as well. So yeah, I felt that like this is a really good way to meet someone, especially when you've tried and tested a lot of things nowadays and it doesn't work out. So why not revisit your past? Yeah, there's bound to be someone from there that can help you out, if not directly work out. It can help you out to find someone or introduce someone fabulous to you who can, who they think is suitable for you, because they're these people, from your childhood, from your school days or from your workplace. Yeah, they already know you like quite well, I guess, like spending like the majority of formative years with you. So I think sometimes like these people are the ones who can sense what you need, and it would be even better still if you had given them more specific criteria of what you want. Yeah, so remember, like I am all for criteria, and like for myself, I had emphasized one main thing was that he had to be like a Cancerian. Because I'm a Virgo, and I know from past experience and from my astrological research that I connect the best with this particular sign. Yeah, and well, it was either Cancer, Taurus, or Capricorn, but Cancer was the number one. And so it happened that this guy that was introduced to me was a Cancerian. And so, of course, I said, yeah, bring him on. Yeah, we need to connect. Great, So for everyone, criteria is actually important. Yeah, like don't underestimate that. So I think it pays to actually go into this matchmaking process with some criteria in mind. So it's very flexible. I'm not just talking about socioeconomic criteria. Like I'm not being like specific as in he has to be like a graduate of this school or he has to be in this occupation. Yeah, I mean that's just too overly specific and limiting yourself. Yeah, and that will probably not amount to anything because it's just too specific and too hard. Yeah. So I would actually caution against that, but be open-minded yet specific and like knowing what you want. In that give like a list of broad-ish criteria, like if you actually want this person to be a particular star sign, then specify that. Because as I said, personality match is like of key importance. And the other thing is like just as important is tangible criteria that you're looking for, which, it pays to be honest about it. Because if you really do want to find a guy who has similar background as you, educationally, professionally, then I think, you have to mention that to your friends, right? So instead of being vague or, sometimes people feel sort of embarrassed or they feel it doesn't look good on them to be so pragmatic to say that out loud. But my take is that the more honest you are, the better chances you have that your friends can find someone to match you up with that's not going to disappoint you, right? So but if you were, starting out vague and saying, oh, I don't mind anything, right? As long as it's a nice guy, I don't mind. So, okay, first of all, that's really too vague if you started from like no criteria at all, and then your friends, like if they end up bringing you someone who is completely outside your expectation, like maybe deep down you wanted someone from like similar backgrounds, but she brought you someone who's not, then you may feel like let down or disappointed. And then the thing is like you don't know how to break it to them that this is not the right person, and then you feel that because you haven't stated what you want, like this is sort of an afterthought and you feel bad stating it again, right? And then your friend is just gonna be sort of baffled as to, well, you said you didn't have any, so I just brought you someone I thought was nice, right? So and now you're not satisfied with them, right? So it puts you in a like an awkward situation because you hadn't stated before, and like now you state it as an afterthought. It's not fair to the candidate or your friends or yourself, right? So I would really ask you to be quite honest about what you want. Like, first of all, ask yourself. And if you're not very aware of what you want or you don't know where to start, I would really point you to my Meg's rule. Yeah, so if you've been following my 21-day Find a Partner challenge, which I had started before the Chinese New Year, yeah, to use the rapid and forward moving motivational energy of the fire horse year, right? To help you manifest your desires, your partner. So yeah, I had this 21-day Find a Partner challenge leading up to the new year, and one of them was several of them centered on the like Meg's rule, which is a rule that I devised according to my theories on partner choice, right? So like why I think these set of rules is important because, well, I think it gives you a starting point for especially for people who don't know like where to start specifying what criteria they should look for in a guy or in a marriage or in a relationship. Yeah, so first of all, like the first M in Meg stands for marriage views, right? So whether or not marriage is on the table for you, like is that something that you are looking for now or in the future or ever, right? So yeah, that's something that's important because you need to be aligned with the same thoughts as your like the person that your friend is going to introduce to you. Like for instance, my one of my best friends who I said married someone from work from before. Yeah, so she and her husband obviously had marriage in mind very soon. So, like, immediately when they had reconnected, which was already in their early 40s, they wanted to start a family. Like, both were, heading towards the same direction. So, they got married within a year and tried to start a family really soon, right? So, like this is something that you need to look into. It's really important, right? Because if you want different things, then like someone wants to get married and someone else doesn't really matter when or ever, it's not going to work out, and again it's going to be wasting your own time. Yeah, okay, so the next rule in Meg, like E, is economic values. That was what I talked about before. It's like socio-economic background. Yeah, don't underestimate that. That's like of utmost importance because yeah, if you are someone with traditional mindset, then you probably want to find someone who wants to like be in traditional roles, right? So maybe like you being a woman, you want to have children and you want to be there to take care of the children, or scale back on work while your husband is a main breadwinner, then like that is something that you do need to negotiate beforehand. Yeah, I'm not saying during the date, but I think that's something you need to bear in mind for someone who is introducing you. Like you do need to tell your friends, yeah, whether you want to find someone who is like a traditional breadwinner type who is going to bear most of the family finances while you will take care of the kids. Yeah, so that's something that you would have to gauge from your introducer, whether the person they're introducing is that type of man, right? So when you're looking, and yeah, it pays to also mention that beforehand, like before you actually get married, because it's gonna be a rude awakening if you put it off for too long. Yeah. So remember that. Yeah, it's not something to be embarrassed about at all. It's like this is life. It's called a real life. Yeah. Yeah, and you will regret if you don't mention this beforehand. Okay, so yeah, the third rule in Meg's rule is G, gender roles. So this is highly tied to economic values. So whether or not you're you want to be in a traditional household role, you want to take up more of the housework and the childbearing, while your husband is the one who takes on more of an economic role, right? So working outside. Okay, yeah. For some women, they feel that they don't want to scale back on their work, and they don't want to forego or give up their career just because they're having a family. Yeah, and I know some friends who are like that too, because they're on partner track and they're, off to like a really big career, and but they also want to have children too, right? So they're not going to give up either of these things. So they would negotiate with their partners beforehand that they're gonna keep developing their career, and they either hire some help, or their husband is the one who will scale back on work to help more with the family. Right. So yeah, these are also things like related to whether or not you want to be in a traditional or non-traditional role. So yeah, and so the last rule is S, star sign. As I said, like it's the personality compatibility. It's like the non-tangible things, right? So yeah, this one I already mentioned before in my other episode about importance of star sign compatibility in relationships. Yeah, so I think like all of these, like the MEGS, like the Megs rule, like they all would be a really good starting point to evaluate your criteria for a partner, and something that you can pay attention to if you're like relating to your friends from the past. Whether when they want to introduce someone to you, these are qualities and criteria and value systems that you can relate to them. Yeah, so that you can share with them and tell them about, so they can find the right person for you. Or if it's someone that you met on your own from your past, you reconnected or rekindled with an old flame, then of course like you guys can immediately launch into this, because you already have like a shared history, right? You don't need to, well, I guess, get to know each other from scratch. And so these are things like that are worth mentioning immediately if you're planning to start a new life together. Yeah, and I would think that if you're reconnecting with an old flame, or with someone, a blast from the past, I think that it's quite likely that you have the same pathway. You're heading down a similar path, like just like one of my besties, like who reconnected with someone from work back before. I think immediately when you reconnect with someone like that, you already have the intention to go forward together and to move on together in like building a life together, right? So there is a reason why you revisited the past at this age. It's not for frivolous connecting, right? So yeah, it's not just to have like a friendly chat over nothing, because you guys are accomplished and hardworking individuals, right? So you don't have time for this frivolous chit chat. It's not like back in the day when we're just hanging in front of the computer, chatting online, procrastinating at work. It's not that anymore, right? So like when you're at this stage, like everything you do has a certain meaning to it. Yeah, it's full of intention, right? So see it as something that is like has a good intention, and so in order to move forward, you have to have the same values. Right. And, after you've negotiated all of this and plus the spark, then there you go. You would ignite the spark and then everything will just go forward and yeah, and your life will change. Yeah. Heading on to a beautiful life together. So yeah, while matchmaking comes in many different forms, it may not necessarily just be like your family, relatives, or parental matchmaking in the very direct way. It can also be through people you've connected to from the past. Yeah, like they might bring you like new surprises, new horizons. Yeah, and similarly, they're quite a reliable source to meet someone. As I said, like there are 3 reasons why matchmaking is a good way to meet someone. It's like one of the most effective ways I can think of. If you hadn't met someone by yourself, then being introduced to someone is always like a really reliable way, right? And also very accurate if like you can specify what you want, and you can ask someone to find someone with that criteria for you. And also it's a reliable source because it's from people who know and who know you and you trust them, right? So they're not going to introduce some some weirdo to you or something, not intentionally at least, or even someone from your past. You already know them, remember? So it's obviously someone who you've connected with in the past and someone you know and trust already, right? So it's reliable, and also it can be accurate if you do give them like an idea of what you need and wants and your values and those things. And also the value of exclusivity. Yeah, the thing is, like, if you've reached a certain maybe status or a level of your work or something, then you probably feel rather secure if you are like meeting people probably from the same background as you or similar at least. And well, okay, I've used this example before. Like Lady Gaga, like she can't just meet someone at Starbucks, I think. Yeah, so yeah, bodyguards aside, like so her fiance was introduced to her by her mom. Yeah, so like it's I would say like the higher you get, the harder it is to meet someone on your own. Yeah, so it's either through your professional life or through your like professional encounters, or if not, then like you actually need some outside help, like someone who can introduce you to someone who is like more similar to you, and you'd feel more secure that way because you just probably don't want to go off and meet someone on your own, not knowing like how to do background checks and those things, or not having the time, right? So I think it actually pays, like nowadays, when you're in your 30s, 40s, to revisit your past. Like all of those friends that I mentioned who succeeded and got married. Yeah, it was all from revisiting their past. So this is the time now to take stock, to make use of your old contacts, and to move forward by moving backward. Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah, like I'm so inspired by my friends and all of these friends that I've heard their beautiful stories of how they got married. And so yeah, I really want you to try, if you haven't already, to try reconnecting with someone. Yeah, find someone like an old schoolmate, like an old workmate, someone you knew from before. Like check them out on social media and see if they have anyone worthy to introduce to you, or if they themselves are single and looking. And like who knows? Who knows what will come of it, right? So like at the very least, like you've actually gotten in touch with an old friend, and that can't be harmful, right? So give it a try. and take inspiration from my friends and everyone who succeeded. And yeah, I hope to hear some good news from you. All right, so thank you so much for being here. And remember to subscribe to Love and Life Sorted so you don't miss an episode. Yeah, and head to Instagram if you want to check out some fun stuff or have a conversation with us. So, all right, so see you again next week. Bye.